At Unfungible, we currently have 35 active clients as part of our product offering, and we have a constant flow of new clients coming in. And one of the things I was obsessed about is how do I, from the moment people buy, start the process of increasing client retention. And this is where over at Unfungible, what we did is we architected an onboarding journey that instantly allowed us to deliver upfront value to the clients that joined Unfungible. Reduce buyer's remorse. When people buy into something, this is the moment where their first impression of the product and of the team they meet is going to define the rest of their experience. And how do we increase the value that these people who have just invested in us for sometimes 5 figures per month are going to get out of the product that they have invested in. And this exact concept that I'm going to be introducing with you right now is the exact process that you can implement as part of your onboarding journey of your new customers and your new clients for your Web3 brand to increase retention and increase lifetime value of your customers. And the retention strategy I'm about to share is designed to be implemented right after the purchase. The retention process of customers starts from the very first time people interact with your brand. So when you look at retention as a spectrum, it is very wide. But one of the things that I want to hit on in today's video is the very middle of that retention curve. This is where I see a lot of founders miss out on low-hanging opportunities that are going to allow them to create a longer retention as part of their product. And this right here is something that I learned from my sales mentor who taught me this concept, which is the moment people buy into your ecosystem, the moment they engage in a purchasing decision, what opens up right here at the next step of their journey is something called the point of highest emotional receptivity. What I learned from this concept is that the moment people engage in a purchase, there's a canyon that gets opened called the point of highest emotional receptivity. And what this point right here is a point of people's life where they are most likely to absorb new pieces of information, get their beliefs around the world changed, and partake in new habits and new ways of doing things and viewing the world. Just think about yourself. For example, I myself recently moved in a new neighborhood here in Dubai, and I remember the moment I put down my deposit check, I was like, it opened a whole new world for me. All of a sudden, I started doing research about the area. I started finding all the cool coffee shops around. I was mapping out all the restaurants that I wanted to try out. And the same thing applies for you. Just remember the last time you made a big purchase. That was the point you all of a sudden immerse yourself deeper into the product. You started watching review videos. You started seeing how other people have used the product beyond the initial research that you've done. There's a point that opens up where you become more likely to absorb information. And the thing in Web3 is that most people, when people buy into their product, they let that canyon that gets opened up for them, they leave it void. They do not present to their new customers, to their new holders, the types of information that would make them more likely to get their buy-in into the ecosystem. They're buying into the product that they just invested in. And the way we did it over at Unfungible is the moment people buy, the moment people were to pay their invoice, it would trigger an onboarding process which was made up of a 5-step video. And that 5-step video had nothing to do with the product they just bought. There is absolutely no mention about what is it they just bought. This was already covered during the pre-purchase phase. By the time people purchase, our hope is that they have a clear understanding of the product. But what comes after is important. During that 5-step onboarding that we present people via a streamlined video process, what we tell people is all about the company. The very first video is, welcome to Unfungible. Here's what you can expect from us. Here are the core values that make up Unfungible. I showed them a video of me 7 years ago wearing a t-shirt that had the word Kaizen written on, and how this word is the philosophy that we use over at Unfungible. We have a process of continuous improvement. And during our time together, you are going to see us go through that process. So sometimes when we work together, it might not be perfect, but it is going to be a continuous improvement. And I then tell them that we expect the same of you. These are the core values that we have, and this is what we expect from the people that work with us. The next step in the process is a little bit more about the founding team. Who are you going to be working with? Who are the individuals that you're going to be communicating with on a daily basis? The next step is we get to set some expectations with them. Here's what you can do on your side to get the most out of the product you just invested in. Here are the things that we would recommend you not to do. So all of a sudden, what we have the ability to do is to resell ourselves as a company to those clients. Another thing that we have been working on aggressively is something called the time to value, which is the time it takes people who have just bought into a product to start seeing value from that. This is something Amazon perfected, the one-day delivery. You buy a product, next day it's at your doorstep. Here in Dubai, it's same-day delivery sometimes. And the time to value is incredibly important here in Web3 because oftentimes we end up selling products to customers that have no immediate utility. Most projects have a utility that is still building, whether it's a Web3 game, your game might still be in beta, your product might still be in ideation. Very rare are the tokens that you buy or the NFTs that you buy have instant access to the ecosystem that you were promised. So all of a sudden, by creating that streamlined onboarding on our side over at Unfungible, we were able to give people instant value via education. We're able to give them something that all of a sudden, okay, I just learned something new. Here's how I should conduct my own business, or here are some pro tips that I've learned from these guys. This is how we were able to bring the time to value down to almost a couple minutes after people purchased. And we were able to do just that. And we're constantly working to try to bring, because even after the video, there typically is a setup stage and an onboarding stage, and then the scheduling of the first activations. Over at Unfungible, we've been trying to bring that as close to the start day as possible. And we're trying to streamline our processes, trying to improve our efficiency so we can bring that start date even closer to the moment people just bought. And the reason why this is important for you watching here this today, a Web3 founder, is I'm going to be sharing something very interesting with you. If we are to map out the following, so what I have right here for us is a table that shows the different types of customers that we can have. Of course, there's many more. The first one is we have what are agency clients. These are typical Unfungible clients. The next one are holders, whether you are currently launching an NFT collection or you have a token that is about to be deployed, you are gonna have a holder base. What we have right here are typical Web2 customers. Let's say you just bought a new merch or apparel from your favorite streetwear brand. You are a customer of that Web2 company. What we have right here on the left, these are some of the things that people can do as part of your ecosystem. So right here we have churn. Can people churn and leave your ecosystem? Do people expect utility as part of your ecosystem? And do people expect to have access to the team when they join your ecosystem? And here's what's very interesting. And the reason why I share the example of Unfungible and how you can start deploying that as part of your project is you're gonna notice something. So with churn, can people leave your ecosystem after they've bought into it? With agency clients, absolutely. People can start the subscription and then cancel it. With holders, that's the interesting part. When people buy an NFT from you, they can absolutely churn from the ecosystem if they're unhappy. We've all heard of the 1 hour community member who buys into a project and then 1 hour later they're out. They are unhappy, they start fudding. So in Web3, people can absolutely churn. Now in Web2 customers, unless you are like a SaaS and a subscription model, the concept of churn doesn't really exist. In Web2, it's more the concept of reselling or people rebuying from us. But it's not really the term churn. So people cannot really churn from our Web2 ecosystem. When it comes to expected utility, do people expect to get value from the investment that they got? Absolutely. all three of those. Even if you're a meme coin, people still expect the meme to have a strong community, to have a good lore, all of these things. So even meme coins have a form of utility that comes with them. Expected team access. And here's where it gets interesting. In the agency clients, people absolutely expect to have, who's going to deliver the product if not the team? So they absolutely expect to have access to the team. When it comes to holders, I have never seen a community, let's say NFT community, that all of a sudden is content just spending their time on Twitter and never engage with the team. It is very rare, incredibly rare, and maybe a few edge examples where we've seen this happen, but most holders, especially for utility projects, expect to at least be put in a Telegram group or Discord group, or to the very least have access to that. So yes, people do expect access to the team. And finally, Web2 customers, if you buy a streetwear brand, I don't think you expect to be able to text the founder from that brand. So all that to say, all of a sudden we can start seeing similarities between clients in the agency clients and holders. And this is why what I'm sharing with you right now when it comes to how do we increase retention via making the most out of that point of highest emotional receptivity, how that can come into use. And that by all means can come into use as well for Web2 brands, even in that category. But it is especially important here because as we've seen, people can churn. And the role of the process that we want to create right there is to reduce the churn out of the ecosystem. We are trying to solve for that one variable right here. And the way we were able to do it over at Unfungible and how you can implement it into your project is the following. As soon as people buy into your ecosystem, it needs to trigger an onboarding funnel. And that onboarding funnel, here's what we need to do. So the onboarding funnel. Step one is we need to resell people on the vision. Step two, we need to resell on the team. Step three, so we need to resell people on the vehicle. Step four is we need to have direct team access. And number five is we need a clear next steps. So these are the 5 things that we did that you can also implement within your onboarding journey. The first thing is resell on vision. Next, we have resell on the team, resell on the vehicle, direct team access, and then next steps. If you are to sum up these 3 right here, this is something we spoke about on this channel a lot of times, which is the VET framework, which says it's a marketing system where we've discussed that as part of your marketing material, you need to sell these 3 things: the vision, the execution, and the team. The execution being the vehicle, the team, and the vision. And it's these 3 things that are gonna sell people's logical and emotional side of their brain on your product and on your vehicle. And what we need to do as soon as they buy into is remind them of that, is reinforce that, it's the moment to really drill that into their brain. The next thing after people go through the videos that resell the VET is people have the ability to book an onboarding call with my team where they get to meet the team instantly. The way we've done it is we allow people to book a call sometimes the same day or the next day. Again, TTV, bringing the time to value as quick as possible. And then finally, next steps. In the context of Unfungible, here are the next 7 steps that we're going to execute as we start working together. And the way we can implement this as part of our Web3 brand NFT project is, imagine if the moment people mint your NFT collection, what it does is it redirects them to a VSL, so a video sales letter, that covers these 3 things. Again, people at this point are most likely to engage and absorb content. I've seen most projects, you mint the project and then it doesn't redirect you anywhere. It takes you maybe to the OpenSea page, maybe to the Discord, but there's not really an onboarding process that happens there. But what you have the ability to do through your website, it's super simple, is you redirect people to a landing page where you take people through the video sales letter. And it's okay if it's public, by the way, if people can just copy the link and send it. You do want to make sure that everyone on X sees how good of a process you have in place. So don't be afraid to make that public, that anyone can access this link. Make them resell them on the vision. Then imagine if the day and the week after your launch, you are doing something like University Orientation Week. You know, if for all of us here that have gone to university, the first week is usually the most fun. And that's where people come together, and the university organizes activities to help people make the most out of their time at university. Imagine if we had the ability to create this for our holders, where we give them a call to action to join and verify on Discord right then and there, because people are most likely to take action when they buy something. So the moment your mint is live, you have Discord ready for you to verify. And in there, this is where you're gonna do a daily, multi-hours per week orientation calls with your team that is there to help guide people. The format you can follow is a quick presentation, reselling on the VET, again, yes, again. Then you can, if the room is small enough, allow people to introduce themselves. And then number 3 is ask your holders, what would you like to see from us? What are the things you would expect to see as part of this community? And the reason this question is important is there's a concept called co-creation. People are a lot more likely to feel part of something when they have a place to voice their opinion and to give their input. And even if their input is not implemented right away, just acknowledging that and giving them a place to give their opinion is important. I remember I was at acquisition.com a workshop in Vegas, and I got a message from Leila Hormozi, the CEO of Acquisition, the day before the workshop. And she sent me an email. She was like, hey Leon, I'd love your opinion on this. That was the subject line. And the email was, hey, we have these 2 flyers ready for the event. Which of these 2 do you like more? Which of these 2 designs? And one thing I can guarantee you, Leila Hormozi does not need my humble opinion on this matter. They have a team of creators, they have a graphic department. But although I knew that this was all part of this co-creation, giving their community a voice, I appreciated that I had the ability to reply to this email and just give my opinion on which of these 2 I prefer. That's an example of co-creation. And we have the ability to bring people into the creation process of the project right from the beginning. And then next steps. This becomes especially important for utility projects. If you have already an ecosystem, if you have a game that is live, if you have a platform that is already live, this is the point where people are most likely to go through the long process of registering, connecting their wallet, and start engaging in the ecosystem. This right here is the point where you want to make your call to action to actually get people to start engaging. And it's during that window of time, if you have the ability to resell them on your vision, on the execution, how you plan on getting there, and the team, the vehicle that they've bet on, trust me, this low-hanging fruit right here is going to increase the retention time of Web3. Because of the liquid nature of Web3, where people have the ability to buy into an ecosystem and then sell it the minute after, it allows a lot of people to come in even when they are still a little bit unsure about the ecosystem they just bought into, or even they might be a little bit skeptical, but they want to check it out. So all of a sudden, by having that onboarding process, we have the ability to create some more stickiness with these people that are still discovering, that are still unsure, and they might have one window open on your mint and the other window on OpenSea where they are ready to just sell it the minute after if the floor pumps a little bit. So with that process, we have the ability to create greater stickiness. So ladies and gentlemen, do not sleep on the onboarding process. Do not sleep on creating an onboarding journey that resells people, reduces buyer's remorse, and increases conviction rate into your project. If you want my latest up-to-date thoughts on how I see Web3 marketing evolving, before I have the opportunity to turn that into a long-form video on YouTube, make sure you follow me on X at Leon Aboud. My name is Leon, and I shall see you in the very next video. Cheers.